In a world where indifference often casts its longest shadow, where the rush of modern life blinds us to the silent pains that surround us, there are stories that emerge from the depths of human compassion, igniting a light that defies the darkness. Stories that prove that the true value of life lies not in what one possesses, but in what one gives. What would you do if you encountered the purest and most helpless pain, crying out for help in the most unexpected place? And what if that pain came in the form of an innocent life, abandoned to its own fate, amid the coldness of a world that seems to have forgotten the meaning of empathy? Pay attention, because what you are about to hear is not just a story. It is a riddle, an invitation to reflection, a plunge into a universe where cruelty and kindness collide, and where hope often sprouts from the most barren places. If you are moved by acts of unconditional love and believe that true wealth lies in the ability to touch lives, then you are in the right place. This is the Emotive Stories channel, and today we will unravel a mystery that transcends time and space, revealing how the purity of a child's heart can rewrite the destiny of an entire family. If you're not yet part of our community, click the subscribe button and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our soul-touching stories. Our journey begins in a village forgotten by time, where wooden houses bent under the weight of the years and dirt roads held secrets whispered by the wind. It was a place where life followed a slow rhythm, dictated by nature and the seasons. And it was in this setting, on a gray and damp day, that the story of a boy and a family of dogs began to unfold, like an ancient scroll revealing long-forgotten truths. The boy's name was Lucas. He was only 10 years old, but his blue eyes, deep as the ocean, carried a wisdom that seemed to transcend his young age. Lucas was not like the other children in the village. While his friends ran through the fields, immersed in noisy games, he preferred the quiet of the forest, the whispers of the trees, the melody of the birds. He was an observer, a listener, with a rare sensitivity that connected him in a unique way to the world around him. His home, simple and welcoming, stood at the edge of the forest, a sanctuary of peace where Lucas's mother, Anna, cultivated a small garden of medicinal herbs. Anna was a strong and gentle woman, whose calloused hands told the story of a life of hard work. Yet her eyes always shone with unconditional love for her son. She had taught Lucas the importance of respecting nature, of listening to animals, of extending a hand to the most vulnerable. And it was this lesson, sown in his heart from an early age, that would guide him in the most crucial moment of his young life. On that fateful day, a dense fog hovered over the forest, wrapping the trees in a mysterious veil. Lucas, as usual, had gone out to explore. He was not looking for anything in particular, only the sense of freedom that the forest gave him, the smell of wet earth, the sound of dry leaves beneath his feet. Suddenly, a faint sound, almost inaudible, broke the silence. A whimper, weak but persistent. Lucas stopped, his senses sharpened. The sound seemed to come from a densely wooded clearing, a place he had never explored before. A wave of apprehension ran through his body. It was not the sound of a wild animal, but something else vulnerable. Curiosity and a twinge of fear mixed in his chest. He hesitated for a moment, but the melody of that whimper, laden with an almost human pain, pushed him forward. He slipped through the bushes, his heart pounding in his chest, until the scene revealed itself before his eyes. And what he saw struck him like a bolt of lightning. She was a dog, thin and exhausted, her eyes fixed on something she protected with her body. Around her, 4 tiny, newborn puppies were huddled together, trembling from the cold. The mother, a mixed breed with brownish-gray fur and ribs visible beneath her skin, seemed to have no strength left. Her eyes, however, shone with fierce determination, an unshakable love for her offspring. She lay there with one of her hind legs injured and deep scratches along her flank, hungry, yet unwavering in her maternal instinct. Lucas felt a lump form in his throat. It was the most desolate image he had ever witnessed. There were no signs of an owner, no home, only cruel abandonment and a silent struggle for survival. How could someone do this? abandoned a mother and her newborn puppies, leaving them at the mercy of the wild. Anger and sadness mixed in his chest. But above all, one certainty settled in his mind. He could not leave them there. He approached slowly, cautiously, his movements gentle so as not to frighten the dog. She growled softly, a warning, but her eyes, though alert, also carried a flicker of desperation. Lucas knelt down, keeping a safe distance. "Hi, girl," he whispered, his voice soft and calm. "I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to help." He slowly extended his hand, showing that he had nothing but good intentions. The dog hesitated, sniffing the air, her eyes locked onto his. There was an internal battle raging within her, the instinct to protect her puppies at all costs, and the exhaustion that begged for help. Lucas realized she was injured. One of her hind legs looked hurt, and there were deep scratches on her flank. She could barely move. He knew time was critical. If he did nothing, they would not survive the night in the forest, especially with the temperature dropping and the humidity rising. With a heavy heart, Lucas decided to go back home and ask his mother for help. He whispered a promise to the dog that he would return. "I'll be back, I promise. You and your babies will be okay." He ran back home, the image of the dog and her puppies etched into his mind. He arrived breathless, eyes filled with tears, and poured out the entire story to Anna. As she listened to her son's account, Anna felt a tightness in her chest. She knew the cruelty of the world, but Lucas's story struck her in a particular way. The fragility of the puppies, the bravery of the mother. It was a heartbreaking scene. Without hesitation, she grabbed an old blanket, a thermos with warm water, and a few pieces of meat she had set aside for dinner. "Let's go, my son," she said, her voice trembling. "We can't leave them there." Together, mother and son returned to the forest. The fog had thickened, and the woods seemed even darker. Lucas led the way, guiding Anna to the clearing. The dog was still there, a bit weaker now, but still protecting her puppies with her life. When she saw Anna, she growled again, but this time the growl sounded more like a lament than a threat. Anna approached with the same caution as Lucas, speaking in a soft, reassuring tone. She placed the meat on the ground at a safe distance, along with the warm water. The dog, starving, hesitated for a moment, but the smell of the food was irresistible. She ate quickly, her eyes still fixed on Anna, shifting between distrust and a glimmer of relief. While the dog ate, Anna assessed the situation. The puppies were tiny, their eyes still closed, completely dependent on their mother. The injury to the dog's leg seemed serious, and she would need veterinary care. "We need to take them home, Lucas," Anna said firmly. "It's their only chance." The task would not be easy. The dog was large and injured. The puppies were far too fragile to be handled carelessly. But Anna and Lucas were driven by a greater force, compassion. With patience and gentleness, Anna managed to wrap the dog in the blanket, while Lucas, his hands trembling, picked up the puppies one by one and placed them into a box Anna had brought along. Surprisingly, the dog did not resist. She seemed to understand that those people were there to help. Her eyes, once filled with distrust, now shone with a mixture of gratitude and exhaustion. It was as if she knew that, at last, help had arrived. The walk back home was slow and difficult. Anna carried the dog wrapped in the blanket, while Lucas carried the box with the puppies. The weight was not only physical, but emotional as well. With every step, they felt the burden of the indifference that had pushed that family to the brink of death, but also the lightness of hope being reborn in their hearts. When they arrived home, Anna prepared a warm and cozy corner for the dog and her puppies near the fireplace. She cleaned and treated the dog's wounds with medicinal herbs and warm compresses, while Lucas prepared a bottle with special milk for puppies. The dog, whom they decided to call Estrella because her eyes shone like stars in the midst of darkness, watched every movement with silent gratitude. She licked Lucas's and Anna's hands, as if she wanted to thank them for saving her. The days that followed were filled with dedication and unconditional love. Lucas became the guardian of the puppies, spending hours watching them, feeding them, and playing with them. Estrella, in turn, recovered slowly, gaining weight and strength, and her trust in Lucas and Anna grew with each passing day. She followed them around the house, wagging her tail, and her eyes, once filled with pain, now radiated joy and loyalty. The village community learned about the story of Lucas and Estrella. Many people came to visit, bringing donations of food and blankets. The story of a boy who rescued a family of abandoned dogs spread like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day, touching everyone's hearts. The kindness of Lucas and Anna became an example, a reminder that compassion still existed, even in the most forgotten corners of the world. Over time, the puppies grew, becoming strong, healthy dogs, full of energy and joy. Lucas gave each of them a name that reflected their personality. Sol, for being the most playful, Lua, for being the calmest, Astro, for being the most curious, and Estrella Jr., in honor of their mother, for being the most like her. The house of Lucas and Anna, once a place of quiet, was now filled with life, barking, and the contagious joy of dogs. But the story does not end here. The rescue of Estrella and her puppies was only the beginning of a journey that would change Lucas's life in ways he could never have imagined. That act of kindness, born from the purity of a child's heart, planted a seed that would blossom into a promising future, revealing that true wealth is not measured in money, but in purpose and connection. The story of Lucas and Estrella touched the hearts of many people, and among them was a man named Arthur. Arthur was a successful businessman, a billionaire in the technology sector, whose life was guided by numbers, profits, and acquisitions. He lived in a luxurious mansion in the big city, surrounded by every convenience money could buy, yet he felt a persistent emptiness in his soul. At 45 years old, Arthur had reached the peak of material success, but happiness seemed like a distant concept, something he pursued tirelessly but never managed to attain. He had no family, no true friends. His life was an endless routine of meetings, business trips, and the relentless pursuit of more. He had become insensitive and distant, and human connection seemed like a luxury he could not afford. Yet deep inside, Arthur carried an old wound, a silent pain that had followed him since childhood. He had grown up in an orphanage, without the love and affection of a family, and that absence had shaped his view of the world, making him believe that the only way to survive was to harden his heart and rely solely on himself. One day, while scrolling through social media during a rare moment of rest, Arthur came across a video telling the story of Lucas, the boy who had rescued a dog and her puppies. The images of Estrella, thin and injured, protecting her offspring in the forest, and Lucas's determined gaze touched him in a way nothing had in years. He saw purity, compassion, and humanity, the very things he had lost in his relentless pursuit of wealth. The story of Lucas haunted him. He watched the video several times, read the comments, and felt an unexpected connection with that boy and his family of dogs. It was as if a door in his heart, locked for a very long time, was beginning to open. He felt an urgency, a need to do something to reconnect with the part of himself he had forgotten. Arthur decided to go to the village. He did not know exactly what he would do, but he felt he needed to see it with his own eyes, feel the energy of that place, and meet the boy who had awakened something so deep within his soul. He instructed his assistant to organize the trip, keeping everything secret. He wanted his visit to be discreet, without fanfare, without the pomp that usually surrounded his presence. He arrived in the village in a luxury car, which looked like a foreign body on the dirt roads. The residents looked at him with curiosity, some with suspicion. Arthur, accustomed to being the center of attention, felt uncomfortable and exposed. He asked about Anna and Lucas, and a kind villager pointed him toward the house near the forest. As he approached the house, Arthur heard happy barking and children's laughter. The scene that unfolded before his eyes surprised him. Lucas was in the yard, playing with Estrella and her puppies. The dogs were healthy, full of life, running and jumping around the boy, who laughed with contagious joy. Estrella, with her shiny coat and eyes full of life, looked like a completely different dog from the one he had seen in the video. Arthur watched the scene in silence, hidden behind a wooden fence. He felt a twinge of envy, not envy of material possessions, but of that genuine joy, that pure and unconditional connection Lucas shared with his animals. It was something he had never experienced. Anna, who was in the garden, noticed Arthur's presence. She looked at him with curiosity, but without fear. Arthur approached, feeling a bit awkward. "Hello," he said, his voice slightly hoarse. "My name is Arthur. I came because of Lucas's story and the dogs." Anna, recognizing the name, smiled warmly. "Oh yes, the story has spread quite a bit. Please come in." She led him into the house, where the scent of herbs and fresh bread filled the air. Lucas, curious, stopped playing and observed the stranger with his piercing blue eyes. Arthur sat down at the kitchen table, feeling strangely at ease. He told Anna how Lucas's story had touched him, how it had awakened something inside him that he thought he had lost forever. He spoke about his lonely life, his relentless pursuit of wealth, and the emptiness he felt in his heart. Anna listened with patience and compassion. She did not judge him. She simply offered him an herbal tea and words of wisdom. "Money can buy many things, Mr. Arthur," she said softly, "but it cannot buy love, loyalty, true happiness. These things come from a heart, from connection with others, with nature." Lucas, who had come closer, gently stroked Estrella, who was lying at his feet. He looked at Arthur with childlike curiosity, without the pretense or judgment that adults so often carry. "Estrella and her puppies taught me a lot, Mr. Arthur," Lucas said, his voice clear and innocent. "They taught me that love is the most important thing in the world." Lucas's words struck Arthur like a bolt of lightning. It was a simple yet profound truth, something he had forgotten along his journey through life. He looked at Lucas, at Anna, at Estrella and her puppies, and felt a wave of emotion rush through his body. Tears he had not shed in years, began to roll down his face. He did not feel ashamed. It was a cry of relief, of release, of a heart that was finally opening. Arthur spent the day with Lucas and Anna, learning about their simple lives, yet rich in love and purpose. He played with the dogs, listened to Lucas's stories about the forest, and felt a peace he had never experienced in his luxurious mansion. At the end of the day, he made a proposal to Anna and Lucas. "I want to help," he said, his voice still choked with emotion. "I want to repay the kindness you showed to this family of dogs, and to me as well." He proposed building a shelter for abandoned animals in the village, a place where dogs and cats could be rescued, cared for, and find loving homes. He offered to fund the entire project, from construction to hiring veterinarians and caregivers. Anna and Lucas were deeply moved by the proposal. It was a dream they had never dared to dream. Arthur did not want to simply donate money. He wanted to be involved, to be part of something meaningful, something that would give purpose to his life. He moved to the village, buying a modest house near Anna and Lucas's. He became a volunteer at the shelter, dedicating his time and energy to caring for the animals and learning from Lucas and Anna about the true essence of life. The shelter was built in just a few months, a sanctuary of hope for abandoned animals. Lucas, with his sensitivity and love for animals, became the main caretaker, a true dog whisperer. Anna, with her wisdom and knowledge of herbs, helped in the recovery of sick animals. And Arthur, the billionaire who had found the true value of life in a forgotten village, devoted his days to managing the shelter, raising funds, and spreading the message of compassion and love. Arthur's transformation was remarkable. He lost the air of arrogance, the coldness in his eyes. His features softened, and a genuine smile began to light up his face. He had found what money could not buy: love, purpose, connection. He had found a family, not of blood, but of heart, in Lucas, Anna, and all the animals he helped rescue. Estrella's puppies, now grown, were adopted by loving families in the village and neighboring towns. But Estrella remained with Lucas and Anna as a symbol of the journey that had transformed their lives. She was the guardian of the shelter, the matriarch, the dog who had taught everyone that kindness, compassion, and unconditional love are the greatest riches one can possess. The story of Lucas, Estrella, and Arthur became a legend in the village, a testament to the power of kindness and the capacity for transformation that resides within each of us. It proved that true happiness is not found in the accumulation of possessions, but in giving oneself, in the ability to touch lives and make a difference in the world. And so, life continued in the village, but with a new light, a new hope. The shelter, which began as a dream, became a beacon of compassion, a reminder that even in the darkest places, the light of kindness can shine brighter. Lucas grew up, but his purity and love for animals never changed. He continued to be the guardian of the shelter, the friend of every animal, the boy who had taught a billionaire that the true treasure of life cannot be bought, but must be earned through love and compassion. The pain of abandonment, the coldness of indifference, all of this was overcome by the strength of a pure heart and by the seed of compassion that a boy planted. The story of Lucas reminds us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice, and that even in the most desolate situations, hope can bloom, healing can happen, and life can be transformed in unimaginable ways. This story is an invitation to you, to look around you, to connect with the world, to find your own way to make a difference. Because, in the end, the most valuable things in life have no price. They're the hugs that heal, the looks that comfort, the acts of kindness that spread like waves across an ocean. If you're touched by this journey, if you felt emotion pulsing in your chest, if this story resonated with your soul, then you're a part of our community. Share this video with those you love, with those who need a dose of hope, with those who believe the world can be a better place. And don't forget to leave your comment, your reflections, your own stories of compassion. We want to hear from you. Together, we can spread the message that true wealth cannot be bought, but must be built brick by brick with every act of love and kindness. Subscribe to the Historias Emotionants channel. Activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our soul-touching stories, and join us on this journey of discovery, emotion, and transformation. Because in every story we tell, there's a piece of us, an invitation for you to be part of this change. Until the next story, where life will once again surprise us with the power of unconditional love. The story of Lucas, the boy from the shelter, reverberated far beyond computer screens. It became a phenomenon, a catalyst for change, a vivid reminder that kindness, no matter how simple it may seem, has the power to move mountains. The original video, which narrated Lucas's journey of resilience and compassion, amassed millions of views in just a few weeks. Comments poured in, each one a testimony to the profound impact the story had created. People of all ages from different nationalities shared their own experiences of abandonment, resilience, and encounters with kindness that transformed their lives. The Historias Emotionants community grew exponentially, becoming a safe harbor for those seeking inspiration and connection. The impact, however, was not limited to the online world. Newspapers, magazines, and television channels began reaching out to the team behind the Historias Emotionants channel. They wanted to know more about Lucas, about the transformed billionaire, about the shelter that had become a symbol of hope. The story, once restricted to a niche of inspirational storytelling enthusiasts, spread across the world. The channel's team, led by Anna, the narrator whose voice carried emotions, and Marcos, the editor who brought images to life, felt the weight of responsibility. They had created something powerful, and now they had the chance to amplify the message even further. They decided it was time to deepen the narrative, to explore new angles, to show the ongoing impact of that seed of compassion. The first step was to revisit the shelter. The team wanted to show the transformation that Arthur's investment and the visibility generated by Lucas's story had made possible. What they found exceeded all expectations. The former shelter, once a modest place with limited resources, had become a center of excellence in animal welfare. New pavilions had been built, equipped with cutting-edge technology for veterinary care. There was a rehabilitation center for animals with special needs, a training area for dogs and cats, and even an animal-assisted therapy program, where the shelter's animals helped children with autism and elderly people with dementia. Lucas, now a young adult, was the director of the shelter. His eyes still shone with the same boyish passion, but now they also reflected maturity and wisdom gained through years of dedication. He was not just a caregiver. He was a leader, a visionary. His team admired him, and the animals loved him unconditionally. The East Aureus Emotions team spent days at the shelter, capturing every detail of this new reality. They interviewed volunteers, veterinarians, and trainers. Each one had a story to tell about how Lucas's dedication inspired them, how the shelter's transformation had changed their lives and the lives of hundreds of animals. One of the most touching stories was that of Sophia, a young woman who volunteered at the shelter after watching Lucas's video. Sophia struggled with depression and felt purposeless. Contact with the animals, the atmosphere of love and resilience at the shelter, and Lucas's kindness helped her find new meaning in life. She had graduated in veterinary medicine and now worked at the shelter, dedicating her life to caring for the animals that had helped her so much. Lucas taught me that pain can be a catalyst for compassion, Sophia said, her eyes filled with tears. He transformed his own experience of abandonment into a force to help other living beings. That inspired me to do the same. The team also had the opportunity to speak again with Arthur. The billionaire, once a reclusive man focused solely on his business, had become an active philanthropist. He not only continued to financially support the shelter, but had also founded a series of initiatives to promote animal welfare and education about responsible pet ownership. Lucas opened my eyes to a world I ignored. Arthur confessed with a gentle smile. I thought success was measured by numbers, by material possessions. He showed me that true success lies in the ability to love, to care, to make a difference in the lives of others. Compassion is the most valuable currency that exists. The new video series, titled The Seed of Compassion, Lucas's Legacy, began to be released on the East Aureus Emotions channel. Each episode delved into a different aspect of the transformation of the shelter and the lives of the people and animals who live there. It explored the impact of animal-assisted therapy on children with disabilities, the recovery of animals that had suffered abuse, the process of responsible adoption, and the stories of families who found their best friends at the shelter. One of the most emotional episodes focused on a dog named Max. Max had been found abandoned, severely injured, and deeply afraid of humans. No one believed he could recover, but Lucas and his team did not give up. With patience, love, and advanced rehabilitation techniques, Max began to flourish. He became one of the friendliest dogs at the shelter, a symbol of resilience and the power of a second chance. His story, told with the channel's characteristic sensitivity, touched millions of hearts and resulted in a record number of adoptions of animals with a history of trauma. The series also addressed the issue of animal abandonment from a new perspective, not only focusing on the pain, but also on solutions. Lucas, with Arthur's help, created a national awareness program aimed at educating the population about the importance of spaying and neutering, animal identification, and the responsibility of owning a pet. The program, broadcast in schools and communities, used Lucas's story as an inspiring example, showing that compassion can be taught and cultivated. It's not enough just to rescue and care, Lucas explained in one of the episodes. We need to go to the root of the problem, educate people so that abandonment becomes increasingly rare. True change begins with awareness. The success of The Seed of Compassion was even greater than that of the original video. Views skyrocketed, comments multiplied, and the East Aureus Emotions community became a global movement. People from all over the world began sharing their own initiatives of compassion, inspired by Lucas's story. Animal shelters in other countries reached out to Lucas and his team to learn about their practices and replicate the successful model. The East Aureus Emotions channel, once a small passion-driven project, had transformed into a platform for social impact. Anna and Marcos initially felt overwhelmed by the scale the project had taken on, but soon they realized they had in their hands a unique opportunity to make a difference on a global scale. They expanded the team, hiring more writers, editors, and researchers. They began producing more in-depth documentaries, exploring stories of compassion in various areas, from fighting hunger and poverty to protecting the environment and caring for the elderly. The central message, however, remained the same. Compassion is the most powerful force in the universe, capable of healing wounds, transforming lives, and building a better world. Lucas's story became an archetype, a beacon of hope. It proved that pain, when channeled into love and compassion, can be transformed into a driving force for change. That indifference can be overcome by empathy, and that, in the end, the most valuable things in life are not those we can buy, but those we can give: a hug, a caring look, an act of kindness. Lucas's legacy was not just a transformed shelter or a redeemed billionaire. It was the seed of compassion he had planted in countless hearts, germinating and blossoming into acts of kindness all over the world. With each new video on the Inspirational Emotions channel, with each new story of resilience and unconditional love, Lucas's message spread, reminding all of us that true wealth lies in the ability to love and make a difference. And that, together, we can build an ocean of kindness, one wave at a time. The Inspirational Emotions team received numerous awards and recognitions for their work. But the greatest reward, as Anna always said, was seeing the real impact of their stories on people's lives. It was receiving messages from people who had become volunteers at shelters, who had donated to animal causes, who had decided to adopt a pet instead of buying one. It was seeing the seed of compassion take root in every corner of the planet. For Lucas, the greatest reward was seeing his animals happy, well cared for, and above all, loved. It was seeing them find homes, build families, and spread the joy he had fought so hard to protect. He never forgot the day he was abandoned, the pain and the fear. But he transformed that pain into purpose, and that purpose into a legacy of unconditional love. Lucas's story did not end. It continued to be written every day, in every act of kindness, in every healing hug, in every comforting glance. It was a constant reminder that even in the most desolate situations, hope can bloom, healing can happen, and life can be transformed in unimaginable ways. And that, in the end, true wealth cannot be bought, but must be built brick by brick with every act of love and kindness. The Inspirational Emotions community became a beacon for those seeking inspiration. It was not just a channel, but a movement, an invitation for each of us to look around, connect with the world, and find our own way to make a difference. Because, as Lucas's story taught us, the most valuable things in life have no price. They are the hugs that heal, the looks that comfort, the acts of kindness that spread like waves across an ocean. And in every story we tell, there's a piece of us, an invitation for you to be part of this change. Until the next story, where life will once again surprise us with the power of unconditional love. Lucas's journey and the success of the Inspirational Emotions channel became a vibrant testament to the fact that passion, when combined with compassion, can move mountains. What began as a modest project, driven by the pain and hope of a young man, turned into a global platform for inspiration and change. Anna, with her keen eye for human narratives, and Lucas, with his visceral connection to animals, formed an unbeatable duo. They didn't just tell stories, they lived them, felt them, and allowed the audience to feel them too. One of the channel's most impactful projects was the series Silent Voices, which gave a voice to rescued animals, told as if they themselves were narrating their experiences. Through delicate animations and emotional voice acting, each episode explored the perspective of an abandoned dog or cat, from the moment of abandonment to the reunion with a loving home. There was the case of Pipoca, a mixed-breed puppy found in a cardboard box, malnourished and frightened. Her story, told with a sweet, childlike voice, described the fear of loneliness, the gnawing hunger, and the indescribable joy of feeling a human embrace for the first time. Popoka's episode generated a wave of donations to shelters and a significant increase in the adoption of small dogs. Another narrative arc that deeply marked the audience was The Legacy of Paws, a documentary series that followed the lives of elderly animals in shelters. Many of them, after years of loyalty to their former owners, were simply discarded when old age brought illness and expenses. The series showed the resilience of these animals, the sweetness in their tired eyes, and the hope of finding a home where they could spend their final years with dignity and love. In one particularly touching episode, they followed the story of Bartholomew, a 12-year-old Labrador with hearing and vision problems. He had spent most of his life on a farm, and after his owner's death, he was left at the shelter. The scene of Bartholomew lying on his soft bed, receiving affection from a volunteer while the camera focused on his tearful eyes, touched millions of hearts. The response was immediate. An elderly couple, living in a house with a large garden and seeking a calm companion, adopted Bartholomew. The final scene, with Bartholomew sleeping peacefully beside his new owners, was the embodiment of peace and redemption. The success of Historias Emotionants was not limited to domestic animals. They also explored wildlife through the series Guardians of Nature. Filmed in sanctuaries and wildlife rehabilitation centers, the series showed the tireless work of biologists, veterinarians, and volunteers who dedicated their lives to protecting endangered species. From the reintroduction of injured birds of prey back into nature to the rescue of orphaned jaguar cubs, each episode was a reminder of the fragility of our ecosystem and the importance of every life. One of the most watched episodes of Guardians of Nature focused on the recovery of a pink river dolphin calf that had been rescued after being found disoriented and injured in a polluted river. The team followed months of intensive treatment, the dedication of aquatic veterinarians, and the emotional moment of its release back into the clear waters of the Amazon. The dolphin story not only sensitized the public to the issue of river pollution, but also spurred environmental awareness campaigns in schools and riverside communities. Anna always emphasized that the channel's purpose was to go beyond mere emotion. "We want to inspire action," she repeated in her talks and interviews. And they succeeded. The channel launched an interactive platform, Connect and Help, which allowed viewers to find shelters, sanctuaries, and animal protection projects in their regions. They could sign up as volunteers, make direct donations, or even start their own fundraising campaigns. This platform became an ecosystem of kindness, connecting people to the animal cause in tangible and meaningful ways. Lucas, in turn, continued to be the soul of the project. He actively participated in rescues, visited shelters, and spent hours talking with volunteers and veterinarians, seeking new stories and perspectives. His own story of abandonment and resilience was a beacon for many. He began giving talks at schools, sharing his experience, and encouraging young people to be the voice of those who cannot speak. "Each one of you has the power to make a difference," he told the curious eyes of children. Anna always emphasized that the channel's purpose was to go beyond mere emotion. "We want to inspire action," she repeated in her talks and interviews. And they succeeded. The channel launched an interactive platform, Connect and Help, which allowed viewers to find shelters, sanctuaries, and animal protection projects in their regions. They could sign up as volunteers, make direct donations, or even start their own fundraising campaigns. This platform became an ecosystem of kindness, connecting people to the animal cause in tangible and meaningful ways. Lucas, in turn, continued to be the soul of the project. He actively participated in rescues, visited shelters, and spent hours talking with volunteers and veterinarians, seeking new stories and perspectives. His own story of abandonment and resilience was a beacon for many. He began giving talks at schools, sharing his experience, and encouraging young people to be the voice of those who cannot speak. "Each one of you has the power to make a difference," he told the curious eyes of children.